All right, we are recording. So this is the first time we are doing something like this, but Kacia and I are very, very excited to talk with all of you all. Basically, we have had just a ton of new girls that are joining these teams from Team Fit Foundation and Balance Fit Foundation combined. And the growth has just been exceptional. It's so cool to see everyone's excitement. People are slaying 80-day obsession right now, or they're getting started in the 21-day fix groups. It's just been really, really cool to see the excitement around everyone's fitness journeys and just starting kind of seeing with maybe coaching could be something that you're interested in from the business side. So since there's so many of you guys that are brand new, we thought it'd be fun to kind of do one of these calls together, just a group setting, put everyone on the same page, bring it all to the table. Kacia and I were going to kind of just talk a little bit, been the first, honestly, 10, 15 minutes of this, not a long time, just giving you a little bit of our own backstories and kind of how we got started in this, sort of what our experiences have looked like, and then open it up to you guys to really ask any questions that you have, and if you're just hopping on, go ahead and mute yourself. There we go. And just honestly open it up to you guys. So we want you to feel free to ask us anything, whether it's around just time commitments, goals that you have. What does this look like? Is it possible for you, depending on your lifestyle? Because we honestly get so many of the same questions from different people that typically have the same concerns. So I think it'll be really good for you guys to hear too, that a lot of the questions you have are probably some of the same questions that other people have, and just kind of get a chance to see that you're all in this together. So with that, we'll go ahead and kind of kick things off, and I will let Kacia start by talking about her story, since she is the one who started this whole thing with all of us. So Kacia, pass the mic to you, girlfriend.
All right. Hi, guys. So quick thing real quick. If you've never been on a Zoom call, if you're on your computer in the top right-hand corner, if you click on the little thing that looks like a grid, it shows all the little faces. So you don't just see the person speaking, unless you want to just see the person speaking. Otherwise, my face is like real big in your face. But for those of you guys that I don't know, my name is Kacia, and I've been a coach for 4.5 years. So quick backstory on kind of how I started, because I think it's relevant to how a lot of coaches start. I actually became a coach in September of 2013, and I signed up strictly to get a discount. So I know a lot of coaches, I would say honestly, about 85% of coaches on our team that now has about 2,500 coaches, Team Fit Foundation has about 2,500 coaches. I would say 85% of them signed up to get a discount on Shakeology. And that's why they started, right? So that's why I started. I randomly stumbled upon a girl on Instagram who I actually didn't know and had never talked to. Her name is Brigida. And I didn't really understand what coaching was, but she was really cute, and she was like a mom of 3, and she posted all these inspirational quotes, and I ordered P90X, and I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll just put this girl's name down as my coach, because I thought maybe it was like Nordstrom, where someone gets commission, So I put her name down, and I'd never talked to her. And looking back, that's actually really weird to do, but that's how we got connected. And she invited me to be in one of her challenge groups. And she actually just reminded me today that I said, oh no, I don't really think that's my thing at all. I don't want to be in one of those groups. So that was my initial segue into Beachbody. And I started P90X, and I honestly just kept quitting. I was doing it before work in our garage. And Jackie and I lived together with another girl, friend of ours, Claire, in Green Lake in Seattle. And I was doing it before work, and I would get to day 4, which is 90 minutes of yoga, and every time I was quitting. I was like, screw this, screw the cuff socks. I'm not doing 90 minutes of yoga in a garage. I'm done with this. So I reached back out to Brigida, and I was like, what are these challenge groups that you're talking about? I think maybe I want to do one of these things, but I don't want to tell anyone about it. And so I decided to sign up as a discount coach straight out the gates. And my rationale behind it was basically, why would I not want to be a discount coach? Why would I not want to get a discount on products? And I really didn't understand what this was. I actually really loved my job. I loved my career trajectory. I made great income. I was not looking for a business opportunity. I was not looking for a side hustle. That was really not why I started at all. But then she did a crazy thing, which I know a lot of you guys that a couple of you that I'm seeing here, I know have had this feeling where she added me into this team page that she had. And there were I don't know, maybe 1,200 coaches in that page. And I was like, what the heck? There's 1,200 people that do this? This is crazy. Turns out there's 400,000 coaches in the network. I didn't understand how much bigger it was than just me in my garage by myself. And I caught on to kind of like a bigger vision of what this could be for me from a fulfillment standpoint. So quick rundown, basically decided to start building a business January 2014. I did this on the side while I was working as a project manager at an engineering company. And so I totally built this on the side. I had no business background, no social media background, never posted on social media before this. In fact, like if you saw pictures of me, I was probably doing cake stands. Like I was not like posting like quotes, like Lauren's like shaking her head viciously. I was aggressive. So anyway, point is I didn't have any background in this, but I thought that maybe this would be like an added fulfillment to my life. And I thought for sure other girls like me would want to do something like this too. About 6 months into building my business as a part-time side thing, I saw a way bigger vision of what this could be. And my boyfriend and I moved from Seattle to New York. I got a job at Google, which was like my dream job, but this was what I wanted to do. And let's see, about 8 months after we moved, so a year after I ran my very first challenge group, I was exceeding my corporate salary, and it made no sense for me to stay there because I loved this so much, and the opportunity cost was too great to stay when I had something that pulled me in a different direction. So started as a discount coach, started building this for side fulfillment, and then caught onto a bigger picture of like what this could be. And since then, actually tomorrow, I've been out of the corporate world for 3 years. And I've been a full-time coach ever since then. So crazy wild ride. Jackie will kind of add on her story from that. But I just think it's really important to know that a lot of times coaches are watching coaches that have been doing this for a while. So especially when I see a couple of like newer coaches of mine, I'm looking at Gabby, who I just got to meet in person this weekend in Boston. And like you look at someone's chapter, like year 4, month 4, where it looks like I like totally have my ish together and like know what I'm doing now. But I started out as a discount coach who had no idea what coaching was, who was scared and cried before I posted on social media for the first time. I actually called one of my girlfriends, her name's Nicole, and I don't know why I called her. I was like, I'm going to post on Facebook that I'm a Beachbody coach tomorrow, and like go on Facebook and like my post because I'm so scared. And I was like crying. And now I like don't give 2 craps about posting on Facebook, but I think it's just really important to understand that if you're a brand new coach and you're just kind of catching on to maybe this could be something for me, especially if Jackie or I, having 4+ years of tenure in this business, do this full time and have built 6-figure type businesses, don't look at that and think that because you're just starting that you can't get there, because we both started with not having any idea what we're doing. So teeing it up, that's kind of my backstory. Is that what you want to kind of run down my channel?
I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's so fun because honestly, hearing her backstory is so fun for me because I was such part of the beginning stages of it in such a different way. And so it's fun is hearing Kacia talk about, okay, so she met this girl on Instagram and we lived together. So it really was, I remember her coming and saying, I don't know, I signed up as a coach through this like Beachbody thing. And I don't know, I get a discount on Shakeology and I would rather pay for Shakeology than have my lights turned off, So like literally that's how much we love Shakeology. But it was so fun to kind of like watch her do this. And what was crazy is I had seen her stop on P90X Day 4. Her and I had done Insanity together before. And when she joined this challenge group, I remember thinking it was kind of the craziest thing and something that I didn't ever see myself doing. But it was so fun watching her do it because she was doing all of these like daily challenges. And I specifically remember this one where she comes into the kitchen and she's like, okay, they're going to give a prize to the person with the best Shakeology selfie. So like, will you take my photo? And we're like in the kitchen and she's like jumping up on the counter, like getting in the sink, like trying to drink her Shakeology.
I did a back bend and I won.
Yeah, it was just like, and I just like, this is really funny that she's like in this like weird Facebook accountability group, but she's freaking loving it and she's sticking with these workouts. So like, I will be her hype man all the way and just like take all the selfies. So it was super fun. And it was my exposure to it firsthand, which is like so funny to look back on. And what ended up happening for me in that is after she got started as a coach and she was like, okay, I'm going to like run my own challenge groups and this is going to be super fun and I don't really know what it's going to look like. She basically wanted to sign up a couple coaches. And from day one, I was like, okay, if you make my Shakeology every morning, I'll join this challenge group with you. I'll be a coach of yours and we'll freaking like do this thing. And it was from day one, just kind of like a really fun way for me to support my best friend and just like join this accountability group of hers. Same thing, really had no intention of running a business, because I didn't even know that you could build a business with this, really. It was like this fun accountability group online thing. It was a very fitness focused, lifestyle, nutrition. And 21 Day Fix would end up being the program that we did together in January. It was right after it launched. It was the first time anyone was going to be doing it. And it was so new that I actually remember when I got my kit, I thought that you could only eat one of the little containers every single day. And I remember telling our other roommate, like, I am going to freaking starve and die on this program because I get one of these greens and I get one of these blues and I get one purple. And then I learned that you get a lot more than that. But it's so funny. Those intro moments are so important to remember, because I'm sure a lot of you on this call are kind of having a lot of those fun, like, sorry, I'm going to see who's unmuted here. Those kind of like, what the heck is happening? But I'm like loving this and it's so much fun and I don't really know what it's going to turn into. And we totally had those too. So I basically ended up signing up as a coach. I was part of Kacia's challenge groups for the first 4 months of the year. This was back in 2014. And right around month 3, I was like, okay, I can do this too. Like, this is super fun. I have a ton of girlfriends that would love this. Like, I'm going to run a challenge group. And it was in April of 2014. If anyone is scared about their social media game, like Kacia said, she cried with her first post. Let me tell you, my first post, I just got a time hop reminder on what it was. And it was literally like, want guaranteed fitness results? You want to do, like, it was just like,
no picture. She didn't have a picture.
No picture. It was just like, it was, you would have seen.
Get at me.
Hashtag abs, hashtag summer bod, hashtag like eat clean. It was just like the most like ridiculous thing. And I still am here 4 years later. So if you're like second guessing your social media skills, know that I was not only the girl that did that, but I also was the girl that thought selfies were the most ridiculous thing in the entire world. I was like, who wants to see a picture of your face all the time? Now go ahead and look through my phone and you're going to see thousands of selfies. So I embraced the selfie game, hardcore. So that's kind of where my story really got started. It was kind of this like whirlwind of fun and excitement. And I was really just doing it with Kacia and just like starting to help all of these other girlfriends of mine. And it kind of just escalated and grew from there. And it was pretty quickly and a little bit more quickly that I was kind of like, okay, Kacia's catching the bigger vision of this. She thinks like she can do this really big. Like, I want to do this really big too. Like, okay, like whatever I need to do. And sort of just kind of followed along with what was told to me by these other coaches that were actually building businesses, which came down to keep doing what you're doing, working on your own fitness goals, keep running accountability groups, helping new people, and get people joining, like really joining as coaches for those discounts, help them stay on track with their fitness journeys, keep them on track with Shakeology, and just keep having fun sharing your own story. And that's kind of what happened month after month after month. And because of that, it really just slowly grew, but remained fun the entire time. And I never really sat back and thought, oh my gosh, I'm building this like online empire. It was really just like, okay, cool. Now we have 6 babes. Now we have 10 babes. Now we have 50 babes. And it kind of just escalated from there. And it was about, I think about a year and a half in, 2 years-ish in, that I ended up, same thing, growing the business to a point where the income, it made sense for me to leave my corporate job at that point, because I was working at a company. It was the largest wholesale apparel distributor in the country. I was managing a recruiting team there, and it was a great job. I had a ton of fun in that job, but it pretty quickly stopped being fulfilling when I was having so much more fun doing something else. And I found myself really wanting to do this more than I wanted to do my other job, which is dangerous when you're like wanting to be on Facebook at your job, because you're like, I just want to talk to people. And I ended up, it just made sense for me at that point to leave. So walked away from my corporate job, and I've been doing this, I guess it will be 3 years this summer of leaving the corporate world, which is absolutely insane that I've almost been a full-time coach as long as I was a part-time coach, which is just insane. I guess I've already done that, but I don't know. It's just been a crazy ride. But what's cool is it's never been too crazy. It's just been such this like fun journey for us to be able to kind of like grow these teams, watch a ton of new people come on board. And it reminds me too of when we both first got started, when it was just the two of us. You guys come in and you get to see these like really cool, these team pages and these calls that we're doing and all these graphics that are made. And it probably seems like we have our ish together, but if you could have seen like the first like year of this, it was Hot Mess Express all over. We were doing like crazy like trainings and all of these things that didn't make sense for people. And we still have made it here to this point. So it's just going back to what Kacia was saying, where it's so fun to start from the ground level, but you're also coming in at a point where you get a lot of the really best tools because we've been hammering out kind of the kinks for the last 4 years. So that's kind of where we're at now. And Kacia, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah. So, and I think what's like, maybe we could even just cover for a second kind of what you get as a coach. So I know some of you guys have some tenure. Some of you guys are like brand new. So as a coach, anyone that's a coach has the same title, right? So someone who is earning a multiple six-figure business, and then like my dad who just gets a discount on Shakeology, right? We have the same exact title as coach, right? There's no such thing as like a business building coach or a regular coach. As a coach, you get 25% discount on all products, which includes Shakeology, which includes the performance line. Now there's bars that just got released. Any products, programs, anything like that, you get 25% off. And then you also get a 25% commission based off of anything that is sold through your website. So if your neighbor or like your coworker wanted to purchase Shakeology or wanted to purchase Energize, like pre-workout from you, you would actually earn a 25% commission off of that. And in Beachbody, you're paid weekly. So every Thursday, you get a direct deposit of whatever you earned from the previous week. And when you first start as a coach, that's really where you make a majority of your income. Is basically, you're starting working on yourself, like Jacki mentioned. You're on your own health and fitness journey. You're falling in love with the process of being part of this community, being part of this team that's now one of the top ranked teams in the entire company. So we have tons of resources and really strong leadership, not just Jacki and I, but a wide range of leaders with all different backgrounds, all different stories. Some that do this as a part-time thing, some that do this as a full-time thing, right? So you get access to that as a coach, but you get to kind of choose what makes sense for you in your life. But everyone gets the opportunity to earn commission, and everyone gets the opportunity to get a discount. And how the income builds, because I know this was my biggest question at first when I started, and I learned about the income side of it, because I wasn't really drawn in for the business opportunity at all. I was drawn in for the fulfillment piece. And when I started to see how fun this was for me and how much I loved getting those messages from people that said, you know, Kacia, because of you, my life's changed. Kacia, because of you, my marriage has improved. When I started to get that, that was like an addiction for me. And I started to catch on to the bigger vision. And then I learned what the income potential was after the fact with my coach, who at that point was earning, I guess she was earning thousands of dollars per week. And I didn't understand how that was like possible. I'm like, homegirl must have like a bazillion P90Xs in her garage and just like milling them out like crazy. If I had to go to the post office to do this job, I would literally not do this job. Like I love this job, but I would go to the post office if I have to, but I hate the idea of like shipping something. So you don't have to ship anything, as you guys know. Point is, as you start to grow your business and you bring coaches in, what's cool about the structure of this particular type of business is as you teach other people how to run their own challenge groups and work on themselves, that's where the income starts to grow. And one little thing I just wanted to add real quick, and I know we want to, Marie, post office is awful. One thing I want to add on that I think is really interesting about Beachbody versus other companies that I started to learn when I got into Beachbody is there are tons of network marketing companies. Beachbody is a network marketing company. And I didn't really understand that when I got into Beachbody because I was more so in love with just working on myself. But what's cool is Beachbody was a direct-to-consumer company. So especially, well, raise your hand if you had heard of P90X before you started in a challenge group. Okay, like everyone's raising their hand. Yeah, everyone's heard of P90X, Insanity. Those are like household names. So Beachbody was a direct-to-consumer company, which means they used to sell their products through infomercials. And they were a multi-million-dollar company selling their products through infomercials. Well, they slayed it at selling the products, but their mission as a company that I'm really proud to partner with is to end the trend of obesity, right? So you can slay millions of dollars worth of programs, but how many of you had a program that you bought that sat in your garage and collected dust and you didn't actually do it? So the coaching network was built into the structure of Beachbody after it was already a very successful company because they wanted to support the people that actually bought the products to get actual results. So that helps Beachbody's bottom line, right? They want people to get good results, but also it created this coaching opportunity after it was a successful company. you'll see a lot of network marketing companies that pop up. I mean, I get asked to join one every day of different products, and I think it's an incredible business opportunity and structure. But most network marketing companies, like 85% of network marketing companies, are built to be a network marketing company. Beachbody was a very successful company that added the network marketing component, which of being a coach and supporting people after it was a successful company. So it has a long-term plan. Beachbody is doing a global rollout. They're going to be here in 40 years versus a lot of short-term network marketing companies that you hear about. They have a life cycle in their business of being around for like 5 years, and then people just move on to the next opportunity. Beachbody is not like that, which is why the people that stay here and stay consistent are able to earn multiple six figures like I've done in this business, because you stay consistent in the process of it and it doesn't have an end date, right? So I think that's a little bit different, and kind of an important differentiator to realize with the opportunity is it doesn't ever have to be a full-time thing for you. If you would have told me that I was going to be leading a team that has 2,500 coaches when I first started, I would have like, sign me up for hell no. I don't even know how to do that, right? But you learn where you need to go in the process of building this business. So if you're here and you're like, I just want to like earn a side income, I want to like run a challenge group, awesome. The process will evolve in the way that it's supposed to, and you can get where you want to go. But it starts with that basics, right? With those basics. And I just think it's important to understand a little bit about it was important for me to know the background of the company and what I was personally associating myself with, and that the integrity and values of the company is in line with my values too. So.
Yes.
Random Beachbody plug. I don't know where that came from. I was just thinking about that today where I'm like, it wasn't like a bunch of bald guys that were like, what product do we want to sell? It was like a company that was already successful.
Which I love. I love that backstory too, because it like you said, like it confirms that we're partnering with something and with a company that has really strong morals and really good integrity, because they added an element that is more complicated for them to add by adding in the coaching network, because they were so committed to helping people actually finish these programs, actually get the results they signed up for. They didn't want to be known as the company that the product sits on the shelf. They wanted to be known as the company that was making a dent in obesity and like really helping people lose the weight. And so that's where we all get to come in. And to even like kind of expand on what she was saying with like, the basics of running a challenge group is when you really break this down into what we do as coaches. I mean, Beachbody has basically 4 vital behaviors, and they really are, proof of the product, which does not mean look like you belong on the cover of Shape magazine, but it means that you are just actively working towards being your healthiest self, which means you're following the fitness programs, you're drinking Shakeology, you're just doing those basic behaviors that make you as an individual a better, healthier person. And then another vital behavior is honestly personal development, which is just focusing on that mental health. So that means reading those self-help books, those personal development books, which I think we all, I don't know, a lot of the coaches I know, and myself included, did not think I needed that, but I just cannot even imagine where I'd be without some of those awesome books. So if you're already like, oh no, I'm not into all that, don't worry, girl, you will be. And then outside of that, it's really about just sharing your story and talking to other people about what this is. And then literally one of the vital behaviors is celebrating each other, which I just want you to tell me another company where those are the areas that they focus on. Your own physical health, your own mental health, celebrating your peers and your people, and then just inviting other people to be healthier as well. Like that to me is a quadruple win, literally. And so with that, what we actually are doing as coaches when we break that down is we are just showing other people what they're capable of. And we're inviting them to join these accountability groups, because every single one of you are either in one or have done one. You see the difference in celebrating your journey with someone else by checking in and being like, I got it done, or having girls to bounce ideas off of, or to look at other people when maybe you're having a tough day and being like, okay, if these girls can get it done with their crazy schedules or their crazy lives, I can do it too. Like you see what kind of difference that makes. And the fact that we're not stuck to one physical zip code or anything like that, that we get to do this all across the country, and even now in the UK, in Canada, and any military base around the world, like that to me is so, the opportunity is endless. That is millions and millions and millions of people that you have the opportunity to impact and to literally change the direction of their life. Like you think like Kacia was saying, like getting those messages of my marriage is better, my relationship with my child is better. I think of like, this one message that always stands out in my head is this woman who her husband told her that he was like, "You're glowing and I feel like you're just looking really sexy," is literally the quote she said. And she said she burst into tears because she hadn't had a compliment like that from him in years. And I was like, those two are about to get it on that night. And that is super exciting to know that she joined a challenge group and now her like marriage is literally thriving because she feels better. Or the people, like, think about, for those of you who are our moms on this call, like, your kid watches you. How many times have you said, like, what you do is what your kids do? And now all of a sudden we're seeing these moms who have these kids and their kids are picking up the weights or they're getting down and plank with them. And like, that's so cool to be like impacting your kids at such a young age. And I just think it's just crazy what we have the opportunity to do and the impact we have the opportunity to give just by honestly working on ourselves first, which again is just so crazy. We are all about filling up our cups so that we have extra to pour into others. So with that, does anyone just off kind of the cusp here have any questions for us on just anything, really opening it up to what's been on people's brains? Anyone have a burning question? Anyone? We're gonna have to call people out.
I don't get awkward, so I'll just wait. No, I'm just kidding. I'll make up a question. I can ask one.
Kacia, what's the biggest objection you do, or what's like the biggest thing you feel like hold people? Okay, wait, hold on. How have we got here? What is the time commitment? That was just what I was gonna ask Kacia. Okay, Kacia, do you want to take that one on time commitment?
Yeah. So what's really cool about our team is we have a lot of people, especially Jackie and I and a lot of the other leaders on our team that have, like I said, completely different stories and ways that we've made this business work in pockets of time. And that's actually what our training, a lot of our training and our team calls. So every Wednesday we do weekly team calls and we have a lot of different training groups that talk about how to build this business in pockets of time. So however much time you put into it is what you get out of it, right? So for example, when I came into this business, I didn't really have any idea of what I wanted it to be. And as soon as I saw a bigger vision of wanting to put more effort into it, I got more rewards from that. But what's cool about it is it's something where you can literally fit it into the cracks of like crazy mom life. So one of my coaches works full-time, or she actually just left, but she was working full-time, like 50 hours a week as a promotions director. And she had 3 kids and her husband's in the military. And so this girl would build her business on 45-minute blocks in her car on her lunch break, right? And now she's full-time, so she gets to be home with her kids, which is like such a blessing for her. But she built it in tiny little blocks of time, because really all you're doing as a coach is you're working on yourself, like Jackie said. You're paying forward this to other people, which means you're inviting them to join a challenge group and supporting them on their health and fitness goals, or you're inviting them to be a coach and you're helping support them in their business. And the best part is you have 2 things. One, you don't have to know it all to start helping someone on their coaching journey, because no one knows it all. Like, I get questions all the time where they're like, Kacia, like, and they ask me something technical and I'm like Google, right? Google Coach FAQ. We have tons of resources in our team page. And also you're tapping them into a community that's already been built. The structure is always growing and evolving, and as new emerging leaders come into our team, but we have 2,500 coaches on our team. We have multiple 6-figure earners. We have coaches that have done this part-time, full-time, made this work within all sorts of crazy schedules. So you get to plug them into that community that's already established, so you guys get to learn together. So as far as time commitment, I think it's very realistic that you could build this business in an hour a day if you had very executed time. But I also believe, and what we teach on our team, is that you don't have to do something to move your business forward every single day. If you have goals like I did of this being a 6-figure type business within a year of when I actually really saw the vision of this, then the amount of time that I plugged in was before work, was after work, and was blocking off chunks of mornings on the weekends. But I caught the bigger vision, right? So I don't think there's a perfect answer for this, but I think you'll catch on to the pockets of time that you do have to build this business, because it's actually really, really simple. In fact, the hardest part, I think, for coaches is that they overcomplicate it because it seems like it's too simple, which is literally you take care of yourself, you share your journey, and you invite people to join you. right? That's all you're really doing as a coach. And then you're just like rinsing and repeating over and over again. It feels different, even 4.5 years in, because your role changes a little bit as you have more coaches that you get to mentor, or as you have bigger challenge groups, and every single person is different. Every single person's story is different, but you're essentially doing the same thing, right? So I think it's really powerful to remember that this is a business. Like if you were to open up a sub shop, like a franchise, an actual franchise, you'd have to invest a ton of money into opening up your sub shop. You'd have to like fill it with like all the sub stuff, like, like bread and all that. And you'd have to pay for the marketing. You'd have to pay for the location. You have to pay rent for the unit itself. You're opening a business that has the potential to be a crazy successful sub shop, or a sub shop that's open on Tuesdays and Thursdays and sells to like the grandparents down the street, right? Like you get to control. That's a really bad analogy. And like analogies are Jackie's thing, not my thing. And I try and like jump in and do them, but they don't work. But regardless, point is you control what this becomes for you, right? There are coaches that have been here much longer than me that don't even make close to the income that I make. And then there are coaches that have been here for way less time than me that make double the income that I've made. And it's directly correlated to your effort. And that's why I love it. One last thing on that, because this is not even related to the question, but I think what the hardest thing for people is that this business is not front loaded. So that means it's going to be really confusing at first. You kind of have to go into that with the mindset. And I want to just set those expectations, because it's like starting anything new. If you had a brand new job and you sat down and they were like, okay, go get it, and you had like no training or like no stapler, like you had no idea what you were doing, you would feel like kind of chaotic. Well, guess what? You're going to feel like that in coaching from time to time. But you're going to have to give yourself that grace space to understand that you literally will never know it all, because it's constantly changing, especially social media. But when you show up, it starts to build, and that confidence muscle starts to build. And the jargon and the language that you use when you're talking to people, you start to get more confident, and it gets easier, right? But the beginning part, I would say the first 6 months as a coach are actually the most difficult time. And that's why if you can make it past that first 6 months when you feel really hot mess express, like you don't know what you're doing, and find your flow, you'll be here in 2, 5, 10, hopefully 50. I'm going to be doing wheelchair workouts when I'm like 90, right? So it's that first initial stage where you feel like overwhelmed by information. But in fact, just remember, you're plugged into literally one of the top teams in the network. And I don't say that to toot mine or Jackie's horn, but literally just the leadership of our team is incredible in this network. So you have the best resources. It will simply just be you getting out of your way and thinking that you have to know it all, because you don't, right?
I love it. And there was something you said that I wanted to expand on that. And then we have another question from Mallory, which are all great. But Kacia mentioned, the fact that there's no perfect answer for this kind of thing, but something that's even really kind of, I think, empowering about all of this, with the first 6 months kind of being the most, what am I doing? How am I figuring this out? All of that is, I find that no matter what kind of personality type you are, this business will work for you. So whether you're introverted or extroverted, there's strengths in either way. Whether you're type A or type whatever the other types are, like it'll work for you. If you like, I don't know, is it type B? Is that the other type? I don't even know. If you like a checklist of what are the first 5 things I need to do in order to start my business, we can do that for you. If you're like, I like a lot of creative freedom and I just want to like be told what the end goal is and I'll find my way there, we can do that for you. And that's what's really cool too, because this isn't and that's why a lot of our answers for some of these questions might seem a little bit vague, but it's because it really just depends on what you are driven by that works best, or what type of learning style you are, or what type of goals you end up having, kind of thing. And we can give you those exact tools and that exact formula to be successful depending on what that is for you. And so there's a lot of, you can choose to either feel very like confused and chaotic and like overwhelmed and things like that, or you can choose to be very empowered and very excited and very much like, I'm going to figure this ish out. And that's the route that Kacia and I took, obviously. And it was really fun figuring it out and finding those ways. And now we do have those answers for you depending on what you're looking for. We can give you that in the exact way that makes sense for you. So with that, Mallory's question is, how much work goes on behind the scenes? I see posts on Facebook, but how long does it really take to sign someone up? And how do you reach out beyond your circle? Great question. Well, I think how much work goes on behind the scenes, I think Kacia kind of already answered that to some degree of just like, it really just depends on what your end goal is. So if you're looking to, have more people join you, if you're looking to run bigger challenge groups and maybe sign up more people and that sort of thing, you are going to be putting in a little bit more work behind the scenes. If you're looking to just sign up your few best friends or the people that are directly talking to you in that moment because they're following you and they're interested in what you have going on, then there's probably less work going on behind the scenes. So it really is up to you to really decide how much work you want to put in. But what does go on behind the scenes are literally just those conversations that we're having with people around, we're sharing our journeys, we're sharing kind of what we're doing, and then we're actually making those connections with other girls who are either following us and interested in what we have going on, or we think that they look really cool and fun and that they might fit with our tribe, and we're making that connection with them, and we're just having those conversations. We're getting to know who they are as individuals. We're understanding what their current struggles are, what they're currently doing when it comes to health and fitness, what their routines are, and then finding out, could this be a potential solution for them? Does this make sense for them from a timing standpoint? Does this make sense for them from a fitness standpoint? Are they interested in the coaching opportunity? So it's really just navigating those conversations. And just like with talking with anyone, some of those conversations can take months. I've sometimes had those conversations last years, and I've had sometimes those conversations last 24 hours. So it really kind of just depends on the individual and when it makes sense for them to join something like this. And, an easy example of that is, if somebody is just found out they're pregnant, probably not the time that they're going to want to join like an intense fitness challenge. So maybe it might take 10 or so, 15 months, whatever it takes for somebody to go through all of that before they're able to have that time to join. Someone else might be going on vacation a few weeks from now and they're ready to go, want to get something started right here and now. So it really is kind of, that's I think what's really empowering too, is you are connecting with girls that are exactly like you. You're not going to be connecting with random people or any like random people that you don't know how to talk to. We really teach you how to talk with those girls that you would be friends with outside of social media. Who would you want to go hang out with at a coffee shop? Who would you want to go hang out with at the park? That sort of thing. And when you have that bond with someone, that conversation is very seamless. It's a quick back and forth. You're getting to know them. And that's, I think, one of my favorite parts is you really get to know these girls on a whole different level. And then you get to help them and watch them be successful in their fitness journeys and watch them be successful in their coaching businesses and totally just change the trajectory again of their lives. So again, very vague answer there, but that's kind of how much goes on behind the scenes. It really comes down to you, how many people you're trying to help, how many people you're trying to fill your challenge group with. And then it can vary on how long it takes to sign them up. And then
yeah, and on the question of like beyond your inner circle, what's really interesting is I found like when I first started, it was like this second layer of people that were really interested also. Like these people that I would not have expected that were interested. And what Jackie mentioned is like, we talk a lot about like sharing your story on our team in terms of like how you actually can share your journey while you're in it. And a lot of your time, like part of your job is legit to do your workout. Like that is crazy, right? To do your workout and to just work on yourself. And like she mentioned, you don't have to be the cover of Shape Magazine. You don't have to have a crazy like journey like that, right? But you showing up for yourself and then teaching how to share that story publicly, a lot of it is going to be built on social media because it's so much easier to reach masses. But essentially it's your business. So some people are really driven by community-based groups, like where they're local people that they're connecting with. Some people want to like get certified and teach classes locally, like Marie just did. It just kind of depends on what you want to make it. And so that's the cool thing about this is there's a lot of different options that we can connect you to. And that's the kind of the power behind being a coach is you have all of these people on our team that build in a different way and have a different type of person that they're looking to attract. So for me, I love talking to people that have a job that they love, are maybe in a long-term relationship or newly married before they have kids, that have an interest in fitness, but kind of feel like they have that lack of fulfillment like I had, right? They just want something else. That's the person that I'm most excited to talk to. And that's the person that I publicly talk to on social media also. So that's another thing that we kind of teach people how to do that will help you beyond just that inner circle. But a lot of times you'll find that people that you thought maybe wouldn't be interested are that second layer out. and you become that subject matter expert for them as you're publicly sharing your journey as you go. And we teach you how to do that.
Yes. Great question. Thank you. Anyone else have a question that has come up as we're talking about this? There's so much we could talk about. Any hands? What do we think? Should we?
How we doing?
Oh, what?
How we doing, guys?
Are we feeling good?
Judge faces. Okay, I see vicious head nods. How do you process rejection? Oh God, that's such a good question. Yeah. Honestly, the craziest thing, I would honestly say one of the best things about Beachbody is I actually just really like this. Some of you guys won't believe this if you don't know me, but if you know me, you will. I honestly think the work that went into building this business was worth it, even if I didn't make money, because I like the person that I am so much more now than the person that I was when I started, and how my relationships have grown because of things like that. Processing rejection, or having someone like make a comment to you. I mean, I've had random people that have like asked me if I'm going to get a real job. I've had people make jokes about Beachbody. I've heard all of it, but it's so interesting because what you develop when you're building a business and you're doing personal development and you're working on yourself is you develop a thick skin and a really kind heart that you actually just you start to not care as much. And it's not because you don't care about that person. You just start to care so much more about what you think than what someone else thinks. And you're kind of crafting your own path. And honestly, if you were to take away all of the income that Beachbody has provided me, I honestly think that's one of the biggest things for me that this business has done for me, is it's taught me how to like love my own self more, which sounds so freaking corny. But when they're rejecting, Marie just commented, they're not rejecting you. But the thing is, these are good questions. Okay, when someone says no to you, it's often a not right now, right? And when someone says that they're not interested, I cannot even tell you. I mean, I said I wasn't interested in a challenge group. I said I never wanted. I literally told my coach, I never want to build a business that's not for me. Whoops. Well, 4.5 years later, here we go. I built a business, right? So like, you have to remember that there's rejection in anything, right? And no matter what you do, people are going to have something to say. Whether you do anything or you don't do something, people are always going to talk. Who cares, right? I don't know. I kind of just.
I love that answer. And I mean, it goes back to one of the vital behaviors being that personal development and that focusing on mental health. I think it's hard to hear someone like say no and things like that. But as like Kacia said, as you grow in this business, you become so used to I feel like rejections may be a bit of a strong word, because again, they're not rejecting you. They're maybe saying no to this solution and maybe saying no that they're not interested in these workouts or this business opportunity or things like that. But, you hear it so often that it's just like in any job, you're going to hear things that maybe don't feel good right in the beginning, but you learn the why behind the rejection. You learn what's their reason for saying no. And it has nothing to do with you as a person at all. It just has to do with it's not the right time for them or it's not the right solution for them. And we learn to grow through that. And sure, there might be a person every now and then that comes at you directly, but that's where we learn too. The whole concept of what Sally says about Susie says more about Sally than it actually does about Susie. And we learn that through this community and through the trainings that we do and through the support that we have. And what's so cool is you're never alone. So if you do get that harsh rejection or someone that maybe hurts your feelings or something like that, you have 2,500 girls on this end of the table ready to like scoop you up and give you a virtual hug and tell you like, I've been there too. I've heard that too. Here's how we move through that. And you get that support, you get that instant love, and you're never going to be handling that situation alone, which I think is so powerful. And we've all just had girls go through different journeys, and you will, like Kacia said, like take away the income, take away the lifestyle, all of that we've gotten from these businesses. I am so much stronger mentally as a person. I'm so much happier as a person, so much more confident. My relationship is better. My ability to be a strong friend for every piece of me is better because of all of the growth and the development that I've gotten because this business encouraged that. And I don't think I would have had that same level of growth had I not gone through this. So it's totally worth it. And it's totally worth it to process it. And you become a stronger, better more capable individual on the other end of that conversation. So it's so totally worth it.
One thing on that too, like for the learners, like for the people that like to learn and grow, it's like, it's kind of cool because no matter what comes from this, you're put in a situation often that you wouldn't have been put into. Like I've legit met some of my very best friends through Instagram that I would have literally never ever talked to in a bazillion years if I wasn't like, oh, this girl looks like she could be interested in a challenge group. Like I'm going to talk to her about her dog. I would never do that. And I'm really outgoing, but I would never message someone on Instagram. And I think about the people that have been like game changer friends in my life that I wouldn't even know if I didn't start this business, let alone like there's another reason to do this, right? So it's like the person that you're becoming as you're learning the skills that are also applicable to other areas of your life. Like even the word rejection, it was funny to hear Jackie like say that word because you don't even think about it that way anymore. So you honestly have to put yourself back in that shoes of like, what does it feel like to feel like you're rejected? The positives so far outweigh the negatives that it's just like, I'm like, I don't care. Because you get so many messages from people that are like, thank you so much for having the courage to invite me to this. Thank you so much for helping me change my life. Thank you so much for like, I can chase my kids around the house now, or thank you so much for helping me build muscle so I could climb Mount Rainier, right? Or whatever it is. You get to have your hand in that. So as you start to build this business and get more of those wins, which are the best feeling ever, you just don't really care. But that confidence and that it's like a muscle, it just takes time to build. And things just kind of brush off your shoulder as you continue on. But when you're first starting, that is one of the most common fears that people have. I was very concerned with people's perception of me posting on social media. So much to the fact that I cried, like I told you guys, before I even posted my first post. And that is so weird to think of that person 4.5 years ago because I'm literally not that person anymore, right? And that growth from getting to build something, that part, that's really cool.
I love that. And yeah, I mean, the analogy thing, it's no one can walk into their fitness journey and start like picking up 100-pound weights. You'd have to work up to that. You have to start with the 5s, move to the 10s, the 15s. And that's exactly how this business goes with your confidence, dealing with rejection, posting on social media. You have to just start somewhere. All of us started lifting with the 2-pound weight and we worked our way up. And that's exactly how this business will grow for you too. The other question it looks like was asked, how do we show people that it's not a pyramid scheme? And that's some people's hesitation before getting involved. I mean, Kacia, you can answer this one too, but for one, pyramid schemes are illegal. So there's that. I think that it's go ahead. No, that's all.
I always, anytime I get any type of question like cost or like any question in general that's like, oh, okay, well, how much does it cost? Or, oh, I don't want to join a pyramid scheme. My always reaction is asking more questions to seek to understand, because there's literally just, they don't get it yet, right? Just like you wouldn't, like it's easy to reject something and say it's a cost issue when 90% of the time it's a fear-based issue, right? If it's cost, most people can make it work financially. Just like, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. It's just easier to just go, boop, nope, I'm not interested. That's an easier reaction. So I want to understand. So I will literally, the amount of times I've gotten that question has probably been maybe 4 in 4.5 years. So that's actually a really rare question that I get. But what I would say is tell me a little bit more about what you mean by that. Because in a pyramid scheme, which is illegal, you would not be able to out-earn the person that signed you up in this business. There's tons of people on our team that out-earn the person that signed them up. And you don't pay a startup fee to become a coach. You're buying a product that you would buy for yourself. The $40 fee is waived when you purchase a challenge pack, right? So like anyone that asks a pyramid scheme question, it's because at this current stage in their life, they're not willing to be open-minded. And this is where you get to come in and you get to ask questions because you care, but then you also get to share your journey authentically over time and watch that bar drop of their hesitation when they see you show up authentically. Those people are people that come back around. Just like the "this is not for me" thing, those people come back around. The people that say no, the people that ghost you, those people come back around. It's just you focus on you and everything else falls into place, right? And loving this and loving the process, not just what the process produces, that's when the secret magic happens. So when you get a pyramid scheme question, my instant reaction would be, this person is putting up a block because they're scared or because they're resistant for change. That's not a you problem. That's a them thing that they're working on internally. So I would seek to understand. And then if they're pushing back and it feels like it's a very resistant conversation, I'm not here to sell anyone. I'm not here to convince anyone to build a business. I'm not here to beg anyone to join me. I'm going to continue doing my thing and talking to the people that want to be here. That kind of people, millions of people that need our help. And what's really cool is you're the only person that has your story, right? So looking at like Lauren, for example, Lauren travels for work all the time and she's interested in Beachbody on demand because she can do it in hotels, whatever. Lauren is the only person that has her story as an ex-CrossFit person who's married to a personal trainer, right? Who was not quite sure if this was her thing. That story is her story alone, and she's the only person that can best connect with people that have that story too. So every single one of us has this really powerful tool in our own tool belt, which is our actual story, our actual objections that we had. I was very fearful of people's perception of me when I started. I definitely didn't think I was a fitness person, and I actually still don't identify myself as a fitness person. I didn't think I looked the part of being a coach. And all of those things, that only adds credibility and connective tissue with the person that I am going to talk to. And that's what's so cool about Beachbody is you don't have to be anything. You have to be you. And the right people connect with you. It's like a really powerful, crazy thing that if a person with no social media background, no business background, who only posted about keg stands and how much she could chug Burnett's vodka with no fitness background can build a business, then you can freaking build a business, right? So it's possible for anyone. You just kind of have to get out of your own damn way, you know?
I love that. And even I was going to add something to that too, of just like all of that is just 150 million%. And to even add to that, if you're like, okay, this all sounds great, but like what happens if I do get a question or I do get an objection that I don't know the answer to, or I don't know how to ask more questions and dig deeper, and you just kind of feel paralyzed in that sense? Guess what? We have literally a group of babes, all girls that are building businesses, running challenge groups, things like that, that is open to you being able to post that question. Hey, I just got this question from someone. How would you respond? Help. Yeah, help. Yeah. And then you get all of these coaches with different levels of tenure, from Kacia and I, who have been here the longest on the team, to girls that are maybe 2-3 months old, and everyone gives their opinion. This is what I would say. Here's what I would do. Here's an answer that's worked really well for me. You get to take all of that and make it your own and then respond back to her. So you're never, ever left alone in figuring that out. If you do feel like this all sounds great, but I wouldn't have thought to do that, you get that help every step of the way until you feel comfortable. And now I guarantee you, you could throw any objection or any question or anything Kacia and I's way, and we would be able to come up with an answer, and we would be able to respond and dig deeper and give someone that chance to kind of open up a little bit more, because we've been doing it for 4 years kind of thing. So we don't expect you to be able to have those conversations perfectly from day one. And we want to make sure that you know that you're supported, and having that place to share those questions. If you're unsure of how to respond, you'll get that support from every other girl on this team that is out there having those same conversations. And that's where, again, you also will get those kind of like, oh my gosh, I totally got that before. Here's how I went forward with it. And you start to be like, okay, I'm not alone in getting these objections. Everyone gets these too. So you're always not only learning, but you're being supported, and you have that like backing from every other girl that's had that conversation before.
And like you got, like on the flip side too, like let's talk about the party of it. Like you literally like signed someone up for a challenge group that you met on Instagram. And in this page that Jackie's referring to, it's like we're doing like boomerangs, and you see these like 20, 30-something-year-old women that are literally like partying for each other that have like never met in real life. And they're just like, I'm so excited for you. You're freaking awesome. And I'm like, women, especially in their 20s and 30s that work in the corporate world, and maybe like most of their friends are from like high school or college days, and they don't have like friends that are on the same growth path as them. This is a really cool avenue to meet those people that legit want you to be successful. Like they are rooting you on, giving you advice, and they don't earn income from getting you advice. Like they do it because they're kind and they get it. and they want to support you, and it's team focused. And I think that's the cool thing is like a lot of us get that analysis paralysis, like we have to know it all or we're scared to start, but like legitimately you will never know it all. So as soon as you accept that, you're just like, let me just figure this out as I go. That's where the party happens. You got to word vomit.
It is, and it is. And it's so important to remember, like, honestly, you guys, we're like talking a lot of like details and things like that, but it's literally just so much fun. And when you have like 2,500 women, and especially in this more like, group of people that are running challenge groups and stuff like that are legit committed to like being their healthiest self and doing personal development and just like being really good people. That is like the most crazy on fire group of people that just literally, like Kacia said, they want you to succeed more than they want themselves to succeed. And that is every single individual in that group doing boomerangs, doing gifts, doing like actual celebration trains. We just like hop on and love all over each other, everything. Like I've done more twerking boomerangs than I care to admit because it's just like such a celebration. And it's for the smallest stuff too. Like people literally being like, just sent my first like coach invite and people are like, you freaking rock, girl. And it's just like, it's such a fun, like if you think the accountability groups are fun, just wait until you have like a bunch of people that are like paying it forward, how much celebration there is and how much support there is and how much love and just like genuine kindness in those groups. It's out of control. And like Kacia said, like it's really rare. I think that sometimes I forget that it's rare to have this many women around you that are so supportive of you and believe in you and empower you, because I don't think that's the norm, especially women that are either doing the corporate hustle, or I hear from a lot of moms even that they start to feel isolated or they start to feel alone on their journey, or their friends aren't on the same page as them, or whatever it might be. So to get yourself in this environment of women that get it, like you will never meet a group of people that get it more than this group of people, and they want you to be your best self and they'll do what that takes to support you. And then when you see everyone in person, it's just a giant like love fest. So it's just so much fun. And we can talk about details and we can talk about like, how to build this and how to get started and all of that. But at the end of the day, the foundation of every single one of our businesses and our teams is based on having fun and just like adding value to our lives and then paying that forward into adding value into others. Ooh.
Preach.
Woo.
All right. I want to respect your guys' time for sure. But obviously, I mean, you know where to find us. So I don't know how to close this
last
thing.
minute, like burning questions that can be answered in 2 minutes or less. All right. Well, we will get the recording posted for anyone that wants this for just future watches, because I know you guys like staring at us. Duh. And with that, thank you guys for hopping on. We really appreciate it. We're excited that you guys are all on this team. We are excited for you to like take this to the next level, and whatever that means for you. We are so proud of you and so excited for you, and you have access to all of us. So we will see you guys later. Goodbye.